Okay. Now, as much as Sonetta is my brother, your husband, that's my guy. I've been on this channel multiple times. Uh, Plenty of times I've been over there. Uh, when it comes to unbelieving, now we've heard him on record numerous times. He doesn't believe in our God. Our God is a monster. Our God is this. Our God is that. So, in reference of what he says and how he attacks our power, the one and true only living God, do you think that scripture applies to the relationship you have with him?
Okay, you want to let me answer? Because I don't want to interrupt you. I want to make sure you're done.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, sister.
Okay, so you pull a scripture, and it's a legitimate question. I did bring up the information about Nabal and Abigail, but I will pull a scripture as well. It says he is an Israelite as far as for bloodline, but let's read First Corinthians, not second. Okay, chapter 7. And let's go to verse 14. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 14. For the unbelieving husband, that's Sonetter, is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now are they holy. Children are irrelevant to our situation. But if the unbelieving depart, let him depart. So if Sonetter departs, he can depart. A brother or sister is not under bondage in such case, but God hath called us to peace. For what knowest thou, O wife, whether thou shalt save thy husband? That's the answer to your question. Oh, how knowest thou, O man, whether thou shalt save thy wife? So what happens in my household that's not public about saving and things like that, and what we discuss is just between us. But according to scripture, oftentimes there are unbelieving husbands and unbelieving wives who are married to the opposite. So that is the answer, my friend. Anything else before I move on to Suntan?
Okay. Yes. So does that contradicts 2 Corinthians 6 and 14? Because there's a simple explanation for 1 Corinthians, what you just pulled out. Is a simple understanding to that. So if one verse saying uh the non-believers y'all are unequally yoked, in the 1 Corinthians saying sanctify, we have to get an understanding what that biblical definition of sanctification means. And then, so because an outsider will see this, a person who's not in the truth, they'll see this and say, wait a minute, that's a contradiction. You understand what I'm saying, sis? They'll see that and say it's a contradiction. So we can't just
know the scripture. But let me help you with that, and we can move on. I do. This is good.
So can you get a people a working definition, a biblical definition of what sanctification means, so they won't be misunderstood on the two passages? Because to an outsider that doesn't understand the book, he'll say, wait a minute, the brother just read 2 Corinthians 6 and 14, and it's talking about unequally yoked with an unbeliever. And then she just read another passage in Corinthians where it's saying it's okay to be equally yoked with an unbeliever. To a person outside of the scriptures who's not in the truth, that'll sound like a contradiction. So can you straighten out what might sound like a contradiction?
You said that, sir.
Okay, sister, go ahead.
That's a good question.
If that's okay.
Thank you for bringing it up. So let me clarify. According to the Bible, not me, you can take a wife who's of another nation who doesn't believe in your God. So the scripture in 2 Corinthians isn't talking about marriage. It's and neither is Amos, y'all. When they say unequally yoked, don't be unequally yoked. It's talking about congregating with people. Now, yes, was there Jeremiah and prophets that condemned men for having foreign wives? Yes, there were. But throughout the Bible, people had they became, how do you say, they came together. The king Ahab was turned against God by Jezebel, but he was weak, right? But King Ahab was an Israelite who was yoked with a foreign woman who did not believe in his God. That wasn't against Torah. I'm going to stick with Torah. Now, when you read the 2 Corinthians, let me answer your question. He's talking to people who are congregating. Marriage, where it says the marriage bed is undefiled, I can get that scripture. It says the marriage bed is undefiled. That's scripture. He's not talking about marriage. That's the answer. So if someone says, oh, it's a contradiction, no, it isn't. He's discussing congregating and being in fellowship as a community, as a group with non-believers. Kind of like how, to be honest, not sliding you, and like you said, Sonet is your brother, kind of like how you're here on HOK and you know that he goes against the Most High. That's what that scripture's talking about. See, thine own mouth condemneth thee, and I'm not attacking you, but you see how you came in and asked me questions. Really, you should look at yourself. Why are you on a channel? Don't worry about the marriage that I'm in. Why are you on a channel as an Israelite congregating with those who you know don't believe, and the person who owns the channel and leads the channel condemns God? That's the question. That's what that scripture is talking about. So I would say, though, in your defense, because you are here with a strong foundation in your God, right? You have a strong foundation in your belief. No one's going to sway you. And you do have love. You're putting love first with the hopes that you will find, that your brother Sonetter will find salvation in your beliefs, even though you shouldn't proselytize. So my point is, it's not about marriage. I could get the scripture saying the marriage bed is undefiled. I do want to move on to, I'm going to get this one scripture, and then it's Hebrews 13:4. I'm going to get that scripture, and then I'm going to be done, hopefully, with this. I think I made my point. The marriage bed is not undefiled. Hebrews 13:4, it says, let's see, marriage is honorable in all, and the marriage bed is undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge. Adultery can also be going against the Most High. So this is a marriage. And that's why the scripture that I presented says, hey, your unbelieving husband can be saved if you believe, or your unbelieving wife can be saved if you're a man who believes. And that's why the story of Abigail and Nabal is crucial, because Nabal was a foolish man who was not following the law. And he ultimately was, the Most High took his life. He dropped dead. And his wife was exalted to basically one of the queens of David, King David himself. So that is the answer. If you don't have anything else for me, I don't want to just move on without letting you respond, but I do want to get to Suntan. Did you have anything else you wanted to say, Nile Valley? And I appreciate you being here. Did you want to make any comments about the topic? Or no? Are you still there, brother? I want to move on to Suntan and DJ Genesis. I don't think we can hear you.
Look like he froze.
Are you speaking or? Okay.
It looked like he froze. Then he moved. Then it moved a little bit. I think he froze.
Okay, well, let's let him. He's more than welcome to come back in. I want to move on to Suntan and Genesis. I'm gonna let you hold it down. Yeah. And
what if someone wants to join from the back? Is the side never in the background and let people up, or
what? Oh no, I'm gonna tell Sonetter to let people up. Because I'm gonna get going.
Well, I did want you to hear this, Sister Bernard.
Go ahead, brother.
If you got a chance.
No,
okay,
go ahead.
You ready?
How do you
Sister Napah and back to DJ Genesis and Nile Valley. My comment on the subject matter is a person really is to each his own, especially if you're not religious. But if you feel like you're religious, I would like to share my screen if you can.
Sure. And then
One more thing, sister. Can you hear me?
Man.
Well, let's let Suntan.
Can you hear me okay, sister? One more.
Yeah, Nile Valley. Just a minute, please, brother. Just let Suntan. What are you sharing? One wife accord?
Yeah, that's a whole. It's a presentation.
Is that you?
I wrote that just so it could be a topic. Yeah, that's me right there. Okay. Let me read this. The Bible teaches that marriage is intended to be between one wife and one husband, a standard established creation and reinforced by Jesus, while the Old Testament records instances of men having multiple wives. These are presented as examples of practices that deviates from God's original plan and often leads to strife. Key verses like 1 Corinthians 7:2 and 1 Timothy 3:2 commands a man to have his own wife and require church leaders to be a husband of one wife, God's original plan. Therefore, one man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Now, reading that gives me the impression that if you under spiritual belief that you should be under that scripture. However, is in the way that religion goes today and belief, especially with the Hebrew Israelites, they go mostly to the Old Testament where they allow multiple wives, and they use that as a reference to them, doing what they're doing. And me, myself, I got to the point at, this stage of my life where I don't judge nobody anymore. So I'm a person who goes exactly to what that says, and I don't add or take nothing away from it. So, Sister Napah, what do you get out of this that I just presented?
Thank you for presenting that. I appreciate you coming in. For me, the scripture that you read is discussing marriage, and the church leaders, it doesn't say want me to get the actual scripture? I mean, that I'm pro poly, but if you
yeah. And then, and I want to make this statement too, Napah. I have nothing against pro polys. I have, me and my paradigm, I choose not to judge, right? I just choose to have knowledge upon what's going on, right? Because even the scripture that says, if the whole world can judge me, why can't I judge thee in small matters?
Right.
There will be, did you not know the saints would judge the world? So just people do have judgment, but I'm not one of them, right? I'm single and maybe looking for a wife one day. Never been married, have a son and stuff like that. So I'm going to continue on my journey. My spirituality is personal, it's mine, because when it comes to scriptures, it's nobody can tell you how to understand the scripture or how to read a scripture, because it's personal. You doing that reading and abiding by scripture for your personal salvation. Can't nobody interfere with your personal spirituality and the testimonies that you have, to tell about what God has done for you. See, it's all personal, and it's all for a person who, it's within yourself. So I do not take my beliefs out and put them on somebody else and tell them how to understand and how to interpret scriptures and things of that nature. But as I read, I still understand, because a lot of people, a lot of other religions tell you don't understand and stuff like that. But my question to them is, how do you understand and I don't? So go ahead, Napah.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. And I know you're not being judgmental. You're just giving your perspective. So just like the brother before too, he was giving his perspective, but it was off topic a little, but I still appreciate him. I don't know what happened with his tech, but I gave him the scripture back. So when you bring a scripture, that's the best part. We could just go with the scriptures. We know our interpretation, but we could stick in the scriptures. And the scripture that you're discussing, 1 Corinthians chapter 1, it said 2, but let's go. It says, now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, he's just responding in a letter. It is good for a man not to touch a woman. So basically, whoever wrote him asked him, what about sex? Like, what about lust and, desire when a man is tempted? That was basically the gist of it, paraphrasing, right? Of the letter he's responding to. So Paul, doing the air quotes, this might.
I get you. Go ahead.
Okay. Nevertheless, verse 2, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. So right there, pro-monogamous people will say, see, and I'm not, and this isn't toward suntan. I'm saying from the breakdown that he saw, the commentary said it means one wife. That can be interpreted. I keep saying interpreted.
You good. I get you.
That can be interpreted. Sorry. Right. That can be interpreted as one, but it's saying your own. His own, she can have her own husband and he can have his own wife. That doesn't mean one necessarily. And to be honest, people can say, well, does it mean one husband? Well, in other parts of the scripture, according to the Bible, I can clarify that it means one with the woman because other parts of the scripture in the Bible show that women are supposed to have only one husband. But other parts of the Bible with men, I can say, oh, this doesn't mean one wife because his own wife can be multiple wives according to other parts of the scripture. So my exegesis, my interpretation, me going to other parts of the Bible, I can see that means have your own spouse in the context of not being lustful and not being tempted to commit fornication or AKA adultery. See? So my answer is this doesn't necessarily mean one wife. Go ahead. DJ Genesis, you can always jump in here. I'm actually
a lot of this is like so much about the Bible, and I'm more of a traditionalist, like when it comes down to the African traditional. And, so my kind of take on it is a little bit different. I think that, in certain situations, if a person's husband were to die in war, sometimes the brother would take on the wife in certain tribes, and then that wife would become a part of that person's family so that the children did not grow up without a father. I think that we're in like a situation where it's almost like a wartime, we have a increasing amount of women and a decreasing amount of men, in the household. So how would you combat that? I think that's probably because of the fact that, pretty much people are exercising polygamy anyway without it even being called polygamy. You have a person that might have a baby mama over here and a baby mama over there and a baby mama over here. You know what I'm saying? And he's pretty much going from one house to the other, caring for all those different households. So if instead of us having to abandon one to be with another, if we didn't have that whole concept of like jealousy and this, that, the other, cheating and all this other stuff wouldn't even be a factor, So that's the only reason why I would say it could be a situation, because people, if that's what's going to happen anyway, it's better to like have structure to it, And that's kind of like what I'm saying is that, and I think that men are predisposed to having more than one mate.
Some men are. It depends on the individual. So that's why I said it's to each his own, right? But if you're trying to look for from a biblical or a biblical narrative or religious standpoint, then you gotta follow your your law. However, it's not clear, on how that should be done. So if I was to try to judge somebody and I was in religious sort of point of view, then that would be, I don't think that would be right for me to judge them. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not the judge. You let Christ judge them. That's why we get a lot of, people come in error at judging other people, and it brings about division. So I would say to both of you young ladies that it's to each his own. If you feel like that's what because it's your journey and it's your salvation that's that's at hand. So I would, to anybody, if it's up to you. That's what this book, and that's what life is all about, choices and the choices we make. So I would stick to that right there and stand back from being judgmental. That's what I would do.
So
that's what I do.
Well, are you a Hebrew Israelite, or do you practice?
Who, me?
Yes.
No, I'm not a Hebrew Israelite. I go, well, and I really put it like this because I don't accept their doctrine when they say that Christ is only here for them to give them salvation and nobody else, when the book clearly says that if you had a faith and if you believe on his name, you would be saved. And they say, well, that don't mean salvation. They keep changing it, but I know what I read and that's what I interpret. So I don't go back and forth, and I wouldn't debate nobody on it because it's up to you to believe what you want. And as of now, I lean further over to Kemet, right? And I do that because they have artifacts, motifs, everything that's real that we can look back on and observe in our Bible, which is just built on faith, don't have motifs and nothing, there's no remnants of those people. So the closest one that I read and that I even heard of was Hezekiah being the king, and the rest of it, it's mythos, and they take it literal. A lot of people do, and they try to squeeze it into history. So I'm not going against that, and I want to make a statement. I believe that it was Christ here, and he was a man, right? But he was, in my opinion, he wasn't walking on water. He wasn't doing all of these mythical miracles on earth. He was doing them through stories, through stories, and they would telling stories of this man, the people after him. But I believe it was a man here who really cared about people and God, and his name was Jesus Christ. And I believe that he walked at this earth, but he wasn't walking on water. See, that's just my belief. So I do believe in a supreme being also. I don't believe in just evolution. We walked out the water and started walking and came up right. So, but what I'm saying is this, because I'm not laughing at the people who do, is we can't prove that we came out the water walking. You can probably do it through science, right? But nobody was there. Nobody was there to say that the Lord broke, that he created man and woman from his rib. And then it's two creation stories in Genesis, and they try to tell me, no, it's not. But the first creation was he created the heavens and the earth. That was the first creation. Then he created man. So, it's up to you to, believe how you gonna believe, but you got to understand that your salvation lies in your belief. After we gone, nobody knows. People are, well, he said he died. People died and came back. Listen, once you dead, I just give it 3 days. You ain't never heard nobody dead for 3 days and came back,
Yeah.
Told everybody.
I've actually died before, and I'm gonna tell you what.
Yeah, but I understand.
It felt like I went to a whole different.
Okay.
Like I went to a whole different timeline. So I don't even think. I know that sounds crazy, but
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. But see, that's your personal.
I died on one timeline and lived on another.
That's your personal testimony, Genesis. That's your testimony. You can feel and see that in your mind and body, but another person can't. So that's the salvation that you have to thrive on, and that's a salvation that's with you. So spirituality is about your personal testimonies of what the Most High and what God has done for you. Only you know. So can't nobody tell you that you some spooked out or something like that, because I hear that a lot from atheists. Man, you spooked out, man. No, listen, man. I know I had in my life, I had got into some sort of fixes, and I got down and prayed about it and everything, and it turned for me. So whether it was going to turn if I prayed or not, I don't know. But I did pray, and it turned out for the best. You see what I'm saying? So that's my personal testimony.
When it comes to polygamy, right? This is what I feel, you know, and this is what, okay, when you go into the actual, when they discuss it, okay? So it says polygamy, partially polygyny, a man with multiple wives, has deep historical roots in many African cultures, often serving as a symbol of social status, wealth, and prestige. It's a widespread practice in sub-Saharan Africa, especially in West and Central Africa, and can be influenced by traditional customs, religion, economic factors. That's the biggest part, because I think that we're like losing the economy of it all. More children. If the family's able to live in one unit, a lot of times, like those polygamous families all lived in one kind of like area. They all had different they have a little compound, and all the different wives have their own little space, right? But the kids are grown together, and the main is for agricultural labor and have large families. So it's like more like a building your own group. And so it's all really about like economics, you know?
Mm-hmm. It can work for some people, but it's not for everybody. So that's why I say it's not for me and you to judge nobody. Jennifer.
Oh yeah, I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
No. I'm not making a blanket statement. I'm speaking as broad. It's not good for people to judge other people if other people are being polygamous, whatever you want to say it. That's, like I said, salvation is personal. Spirituality is personal, right? Whether you believe it or not.
Spirituality, though. Like, here's the thing. Is polygamy spiritual? Or is it just the union between man and woman, and then a man and another woman, and they're pretty much coming together for economic purpose? Because even marriage can be considered a business, right? So if you know that marriage can be considered a business, wouldn't it make sense to have multiple wives so that your business could thrive by having more kids to?
Yeah, but see, Genesis, listen now. Let's not me and you both now. We talking man and woman. Let's not get off a track of reality, because I'm gonna say it just like this. I don't know you. Me and you not attracted to each other. We just if me and you dated and I found you attractive and we was to continue forward with a relationship, I don't want to see you with no other man around you, and I'm not gonna bring no other man around, a woman around you. See, that's how I think. So it's different men. Some men do that, and the woman is fine with it. So it's all depends on the individual. You got to put it in,
But that's like more emotional. I think that in Africa, because based on what I've talked,
that's what love is. Marriage is supposed to be emotional.
But hold on, I think in Africa, because I've talked to people like Mighty Hebrew, and the understanding of marriage in Africa is more of an economic thing. It's not necessarily about love. It's about economics. It's about business. It's very.
Take that route. Go ahead. But me and you both know what marriage is in America here and Pierce. See what they do over in Africa is what they do over in Africa. We talking about the situation here at hand, 2025, November the 16th. Right now, I'm not expounding on what they do anywhere else. In this conversation, I'm saying that there are some men who goes for that, and it's no problem. And then somebody do have problems while they're doing it, but they still do it. And there's some men like me. I prefer just to have a wife. Now, I'm saying since I'm not married, that don't mean I'm just gonna be with just one chick. Now, we gonna play the field. That's how men are. I'm out to conquer, right? However, if I'm with a wife, then that's what my devotion is gonna be.
So what changes the difference between if you're out to conquer, you have multiple women?
Because I'm not tied to the woman emotionally. You ask the easy questions.
But hold on, what determines marriage? Because in some things,
Because you went down the aisle, you put on the ring, and you made a promise to her.
That's ceremony. I'm talking about what, because I know that certain things will say that even the act of actually cleaving to a woman is a marriage. So
Can I say this to you, Genesis? Because we going down a rabbit hole.
No.
Once I make listen, I'm a man. Once I make a promise to you that you're gonna be my wife and the only one, that's the promise right there. So everything else is irrelevant because I made that promise to you that I would be with you for the rest of your life through sickness and health. I made that promise, no whether it's a ceremony or not, because some people got married without a preacher. Back in slavery days, they sat under the stars, and some of them jumped the broom. They did it all type of way. But if I make a commitment to you, and that's what the commitment is. We understand that. We're not illiterate. So if I said, Genesis, I love you, I want to be with you, I want to marry you, and this me and you against the world, I'm not going to be saying, well, I got this other girl here, Genesis, that you mind if we bring it? I'm not doing that. That's just me. You see what I'm saying? So it depends on the individual. And if we want to go down a rabbit hole, it's all kind of love situations, man. You know, they do it all kind of ways.
But is that really a rabbit hole? I mean,
yeah, it is, because like in Africa they do it one way, over in Germany they do it different. It depends on the culture and the people, right? So that's a rabbit hole because we don't know the other ceremony. We don't know how they feel about it. Look at the Quakers. I don't know nothing about Quakers, but I've seen them with a lot of wives, you know. So like I said, let's keep it simple. And that's just the way, really, that the Lord's word is supposed to be. It's supposed to be simple. He say, my word is so plain, not even a fool will err. We know what to do. It's just us with these other ideals to add to it. So when you can make your life as complicated as you want to, but that's on you. It's up to you. If you can handle it, good. You know, like me, I don't even need the aggravation. I never put my hands on none of my ladies in my life. And I'm 67, hitting them and stuff like that and being possessed. I never did none of that, right? And I grew up with 6 sisters. I had 3 older and 3 younger. I was right in the middle. So they got on my nerves, but I still, wasn't running around trying to dog out and hit on women. And that's just a little something about my character. So when I do get a wife, I guess, I don't know, I ain't married yet, and I'm kind of picky in my mind because of them sisters, I guess. But if it ever happens, even at 65, I would embrace it. And I'm not adding nobody else to the party. It's just me and her against the world. That's it.
Here's the question, though. So what about men with multiple baby mamas? That's
on them.
Isn't that almost similar to a polygamous relationship?
Like I said, when you say that, it's not. See, look, when you doing what you're doing now, you can't say that because a polygamous relationship has rules. But when these guys out here with all these baby mamas, they playing without no rules. They just knocking them up and knocking them down. But when you in a polygamous relationship, which I have never been in, they have rules. What I understand, they have rules to it. And if anybody who's out there who's know about it, they could come in and chime in on it, because I don't know nothing about it, but I would suffice that they have rules to their polygamous relationship. Like if this guy got 5 wives, right, and I'm coming over trying to bang on one of his wives, I don't think he gonna let me do it. I think it's gonna be a problem. I don't know how that works. So, I just know that if I had a woman, if my woman, ain't nobody banging her but me. And you see what I'm saying? So it's simple.
To me, I see it like, in America, the dating culture has taken away from the original concept of like what really happens. Because normally what would happen is that the moment that you actually were to have sex with a woman, that woman would be your wife. Okay. And so then, if you, and I believe that what's happening is that because of the dating culture in America, it allows you to be able to play the field as such. And then you could say, oh, okay, well, I'm just dating. But in any other culture, that woman would be your wife. So you'd have multiple. Because if you actually think about spiritually, when you actually are having sex with a woman, you're spiritually connected. Like there's a connection, and that doesn't really necessarily go away. You pretty much take on their spirit. You know, I mean, if you ever,
it's all in the individual, Genesis. So that's what I'm saying. It's an individual choice for you to make, and if you got to stand by your own convictions, right? So it's whatever you believe in. It's like I said, this what we talking about isn't hard at all. It's easy. This is easy work. This conversation, and it's a good conversation because it's giving enlightenment to people who listen, right? At the same token, once this conversation is over, people going back to their own mind, they're gonna make their decisions right now. However, you know, everything stays the same in the conversation until it's over with. Then they're gonna go by, maybe he gonna go and get another woman to knock her up, or maybe he gonna think about it, and you don't know. It's all in people's heads.
But what you say if we didn't have like the whole stigma of polygamy in America, where it was illegal and this, that, the other, that relationships probably would sustain a little bit because a guy would not have to choose between, oh, okay, I'm with this woman versus this woman, and I have to break up with this woman because I'm cheating. The whole aspect of cheating wouldn't even exist because
but if you think about it, it's like that now.
That woman.
You just Genesis, it's like that now. You just made a scenario that's happening right now. It's just that everybody's not going to consent to what you're talking about. But basically, you have a world, and we in the United States, you got a United States full of married people who care about each other and concerned about each other. That's just a group. Then you got another group that's polygamous. Then you got another group that's dropping baby mama. And you got another girl group that's doing this, that don't even want a man. So that's just the way the world is. It's up to you to put yourself in the category that you want to be in. Because we can't make this world a happy place like that. It don't work.
Now Valley Hebrew and Harwin to
What's
the
that?
channel.
What's up, brother Harwin?
Harwin was here first, and then we'll go to now.
Yeah, Harwin is my guy, man. He kicks it live. Peace, Harwin.
What's up, Sultan?
What you got to elaborate on it, brother?
How you doing, Sister Genesis?
Was I making any sense?
Yeah, you was making sense.
Come on, if I'm not, critique me, brother.
Hold on. You let the other brother go. I'll go after.
Okay, go ahead, Now Valley.
Now Valley, it's on you.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you loud and clear.
Sister Genesis, shout out to Sister Napah. Okay, shout out to Sister Napah again. But when I went to 2 Corinthians, I brought out that scripture. The sister Napah Shadah, much love to you, but really, and I think you was here, Suntan, and you, Sister Genesis, when she told me that if that's the fact, back. I need to take a
She's back.
Look at myself in the mirror because I talked to Sanet to congregating with people.
But wait a minute.
Okay, can you look up? Just Google it real quick. Okay? What does it mean to be unequally yoked? And can you read what it says for us?
Nile Valley.
Because the sister.
She's back now, Nile Valley. Let her talk to you.
I'm still, Nile Valley.
Okay, can you hear me, Queen Napah?
Yeah, I hear you, brother. What did you?
All right, hey, yo, hold on for 1 minute. 1 minute.
I can't hear it, Suntan.
Peace. Okay. 1 minute. Now Valley. Now Valley. I can hear Suntan.
Oh, hold on, now Valley. Sinetta talking to you. Can you hear him? Can you hear?
I can't hear Sai either.
Yeah, Sai's here, ready to pull the covers off. I'm here. You worrying about me? What we got going on, nigga? The fuck is wrong with you?
And while they doing that, Suntan, could you Google what it means to be unequally yoked? Why they doing that, brother?
King, Sonetter, I really
talk to you now, Valley.
Because I can't hear them. Maybe
show him that he's
wrong. You gotta go out now, Valley. Go out and come back in.
Niggas a creep.
Yeah,
Hey, come on, y'all. This ain't
I can hear a little. I can hear it now.
Y'all are unequally yoked. Is that what's going on here? Are you trying to say that they're unequal?
Yo, be cool.
Yeah,
Stop trying to act like I'm your brother, nigga. You're not
am
my
I
brother.
trying to say?
You wouldn't even be coming in here trying to do that bullshit. You think I don't
Hey,
see
hold
the signs, nigga?
Am I
What's the
trying to
fuck?
say?
Nigga. I'm gonna fall back. Just
man.
let that go.
I thought you get. Okay, listen, you got 7, bro. You got 7 channels, right? And you told me to mold this channel.
I can hear now.
To a different direction. It should be no open panel like this. Everybody cussing.
Ain't nobody.
Why is everybody's audio cutting out like that? There's something weird going on. I don't know.
Well, I can hear everybody loud and clear.
I can hear Suntan
I can hear
clear.
his audio cutting in.
That's that brother Mike.
Yeah, your mic is
Valley, your mic
Valley. You got to leave out now, Valley, and come back in. Click away and come back.
Yeah, your mic is clipping now, Valley. We can't hear.
Yeah, he's gone now. He's gonna try to come back.
Yeah, so I'm trying to understand. Was he really trying to?
I don't know. He questioned Napah about something.
That's crazy.
Really
like, how could you come on someone else's panel and question their relationship? Who are you?
I don't know what he's doing. Cause he a Hebrew, I believe.
I'm gonna check him. Let me get him.
Yeah, Hebrew Israelite. So he's trying to, make a point. He's trying to make a point with scripture.
Right, saying because that Saw is an unbeliever in the pot is that she's an
yeah, but see that's what he don't. It's stuff he don't know, Genesis, because Saw believe in his own way, and it's not none of his business, no way.
Yeah, but that's not his business. That's
right. That ain't none of his business.
What is you worried about that for? You's a creep, nigga. Right. I don't know you. You talking about you know me? You been on my pod. I don't know your bitch ass. The fuck out of here. You blocked, nigga. You blocked. Because I see what you're doing. All of a sudden, these niggas think they Israelites and they following all the rules and laws.
Right.
Fuck out of here.
Hey, man, you
wouldn't even be doing what you're doing right now. It talks about that.
You can't be judged.
What happened to those who have not sinned shall cast the first stone? What happened to that?
My whole belief on everything is different. I believe in personal spirituality. So whatever somebody doing, it's not my duty to judge whatever somebody doing, whether I agree or not. What it is for me to do is make sure that my salvation is okay. That's what I got to do. Because like I was telling you, Genesis, this going on different ways all over the world. And who's the judge, right? And you understand what I'm saying, Genesis? Hey, Howard, you got something to say, Howard?
Yeah, I was just gonna say people need to mind their business when it comes to people's personal relationship.
Yep, that's what I say.
Like whatever they got going on, that's their business. I don't know why he feel like come on here on a platform and talk about somebody else's business. That's creep. That's creep activity.
I mean,
that's manly. That's like gossipy stuff.
I mean, like I said, go ahead, Harwin.
That's universal. Like I don't care if you believe in the Bible, Kemet, whatever. Like, hey, stay out of people's bedroom, man.
Right, man. You can't go in nobody's paradigm trying to move around furniture with your belief, right? In the way you believe it. So, like I said, and I'm taking a stand against most of the Hebrews that I know, Hebrew Israelites that I know, because some of them are good, like Gideon, they got their own way. But you got some of them who want to stand and tell you what you don't understand, and they take one scripture and they add it. You read one thing and it says that Christ came to save all, but they want to read it and say, yeah, he saved all, but just stuff like that. So when it comes to a narrative, or especially when it comes to religion, you got the way you believe it, and I got the way I believe it, but I'm going to still work according to what's righteousness, what's right and wrong, and try to stay in my lane, especially when it comes to relationship. Like I said, Genesis, when you dealing with polygamy and all of that, you're going down a rabbit hole because they do it all over the world, and they've been doing it. So it's up to you. If you don't want it in your life, don't have it. Just have one husband. If somebody wants it, then you can go ahead and have it. You know what I'm saying? That's how that works. It ain't up for us to be judging nobody's relationships, man.
I never was on some judgment. I'm just like, I can argue for it. I can argue against it. I can argue either side. I just say, well, for the aspect of it is that yes, from a business standpoint, the whole objective was to build a nation of people and then be able, like, I wasn't not a nation, but to build, like, for economic standpoint, you know what I'm saying, for agricultural purposes. Then you have your kids being able to till the land and grow your property and this, that, the other. The more wives, the more children, and all that whole thing goes together,
Yeah,
but
if they wanted to do it,
right, that's what I was going to speak on before that brother came back on. I was just trying to let him go. I didn't know he was going to go there.
Yeah, but he was trying to go there before he got here.
Found on that aspect of, like, I believe that if we actually probably were to, even right now, you have all these males that are incarcerated, right? In those cases, I would believe that we consider those like in my situation, my father passed away. So his friend became the father in my household and became my stepfather. Okay. So that would be almost because he, they were really into like that type of stuff. But I guess like the Panthers or whatever. So it was like, well, when one soldier goes down, the other steps up, the brother steps up and takes care of the family. So, like, I would say that in those cases, you need that. When one goes down, you have to be able to, otherwise you raise a child without a father, So I think that if we actually took on some of those ideals, then we wouldn't have all these like fatherless homes. And as many incarcerated males that we have that go to jail, and there's less men on this earth right now than women, or at least in America, where you have a ratio of 8-to-1 in some cities or whatever. Like, how can you be really monogamous in that situation unless, you're going to have a big deficit of women, which that's the single parent conundrum, right? So that's where I was like, okay, well, if we embrace polygamy, then you probably wouldn't have that. You'd have a male in the household. What are your thoughts on that, Harv?
I agree with you. I only got a little bit of pushback. It's because Africa is so big. There's so many cultures. It's not a monolith. You know what I mean? So like in Southern Africa, what I mean by that is the economy is a part of it, but it's not like the biggest part. They all play a part, and it's very spiritual too. You know what I mean? In Southern Africa and the different tribes there, it's matriarchal. It's matriarchal patriarchy, meaning the men will be in like the heads of the political aspects, and then the women would be ahead of the social aspects. And those things intertwine with each other to create flourishing civilizations. And economy is a part of that, but it's not the only part. And different economies at different time periods work differently. So when she was building on the economy as far as having, livestock, and because sometimes marriages come with dowries, meaning that you got to give away a certain amount of cattle or whatever animals you're giving away that can help with your farm or your agriculture. So in that aspect, I completely agree with that. But it's also very, very, very spiritual too. Sometimes in some cultures, they would say that the ancestors wanted this person to marry that person. And that would be a very literal idea.
Okay.
Even if it was a young man, they would wait till that young man gets to of age to be able to do it. But it will commence that way. But if you look in, I don't know if it's for certainly the oldest one on record, but it's the oldest one that I know of on record of polygamy. You could look at Asar and Ashtat, or who they call Osiris and Isis.
Right. That was in the beginning, sort of.
Right. At a point that's very old, we can say.
Right, very old.
So when you look at, and some people would think that these people are not literal, like Jabari, and I push back on him. I disagree with him. I don't completely disagree with him because certain aspects of these deities are also very metaphoric or what
of course.
the brother Dr. Inky would say as mnemonic devices, right? Meaning that they will use these to explain certain things for our memory. But it's also some literal aspects, because you will see Asar in the Turin papyrus as it listed as like an actual king. And then you will see Diodorus, one of these Greco-Roman guys, mention him as a king as well. So I'm not going to debate on that, but what I'm saying is using that story, that's one of the oldest forms or oldest aspects of polygamy that we can see that's on written record.
Right.
Because his other wife, which was Set's wife originally, which goes to the sister's point about your brother, except Set wasn't dead, so that kind of created a conflict. But Nebhet or Nebet-Hatat, who the Greeks called Nephthys, had a son by Osar, and his name was Anpu. People know him as Anubis. You look at the guy, he got the dog head.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Right. That's Asar's other son by his other wife. And now when you see Isis, and it was kind of like her idea, if you look at different versions of the story, it can be debated about that, but it was her idea to bring that forth.
What I would say is this, man. It's to each his own. I said that when that was my first statement, because, like I said, I moved away from the way that they try to run the Abrahamic faith, right? Because it's, I can't go into a church right now listening to them, preach about all these, metaphorical things that I have read and studied about, whether I believe it or not. I'm more set to Kemet, where these things really happen. And like I told this story a few times on the panel, man, when I was like 4 years old, I stayed down in the, I was raised in the Brewster Projects here in Detroit, and an older guy, he used to teach us Bible stories for quarters and for fruit. You learn a Bible story, you get a quarter, you get $1 if you learned the 10 Commandments. I learned the 10 Commandments when I was like 4 years old for that $1. Because back in 1964, $1, I was big money. So what I'm saying is this right here. He told me, he said, Ricky, with the, that was my nickname. He said, Ricky, because he was Baptist and his wife was Jehovah's Witness. But he told me, say, Ricky, the reason why, because he told me the story about the flood and all of these things. He just was teaching me the Bible, and he said the Lord got mad with the Egyptians because they had other gods and they went to praying off the other gods, so he destroyed the world and so on and so forth. That story stuck with me for a long time. But see, now that I'm grown and I went through the Abrahamic faith with Christ, I read the New Testament, some of the Old, and all of these things. Now I'm to the point where, because I thought that the Adam and Eve story was real. I had put that in front of I didn't even know Kemet was before the Abrahamic faith. You see how this doctrine got pushed into us, man, because it sort of had me confused about 7 years ago till I started hooking up with Sinetta in the House of Consciousness. Then I start, because it's a lot of brothers like you, Howard, who's very well studied and good researchers and everything. This community is about the information, man. So when you get on this community trying to judge people and try to push people down and around, you're going to run into problems, So the drop the mic right now is to give Genesis a chance to speak. I have learned through my journey that you get the information you can from the Moors, whoever going to give you the information, and you research it yourself. And don't make no judgments of nobody, because that's not your position. Once you start judging people, then you're going to come and run into errors, And like I said, I saw the polygamy thing. I come in, I don't care what the subject was, because like polygamy, I don't care about polygamy. People do what they want to do. And when you go down trying to judge him, then you're going down a rabbit hole, because there's so many different cultures, especially over in Africa, how they have 7 wives or 3 or 4 wives. Then they was doing it here in America with the Quakers and the white men was, man. So just, if you want, it's all about how you feel about your woman and who you want. If you want 2 women, if you can handle it, handle it. You want 3 women, handle it. If you want 1, handle it. That's all I'm saying. It's an individual thing.
So I think it's really based on wealth, because when you actually go into like Africa, the kings in Africa, right? There's a guy named King Mswati III of Eswatini, also known as Swaziland, right?
Right.
He has 15 wives, right? His father had 100 wives.
Wow.
100.
He was rich, right?
Yeah, he's a king.
Yeah.
Well, that's based on wealth for sure.
Yeah.
And they had this reed dance where 1,000 of young women who were virgins, they do it every year. They go out and the king chooses a wife. So I guess he should be 100 times every year.
Yeah, I can believe
that's
that.
in the Zulu. When you say Swaziland, you talk about the Zulu.
Let me excuse me.
There's an actual documentary called "The Last King of Africa."
Excuse me, y'all. I want to say this: when it comes with a lot of money, arrogance come with that money. So you feel a little broader to do more things that you would do if you were just working at Ford's or Chrysler, right? If you got a lot of money, then you're gonna have I think you're gonna have a lot of more stuff on the plate as far as women and everything else. So I think that run hand in hand, right?
Here's the thing: how many wives is overkill? Like 100 wives? I mean,
but that's what he wants. So how could it be overkill?
100 different women, like
how could it be overkill if that's what he wants?
I mean, sister, if you saying it's based on wealth, then it's not overkill because he's a king.
Right.
That's
what he wants.
100 different women. I mean,
that's why I said it's not only based on wealth. It's more to it. Wealth is a part of it for sure. Not taking that away, but it's also spiritual aspects to it. They don't do things just for nothing. Right. There's agricultural aspects to it. There's socio-political aspects to it, which also can delve into economics again too. But
so
it's not just
like a bloodline thing, so you can have more than
it's one. Bloodline is definitely a part of it too. But that's again goes into the spiritual and social
look at
and political aspects of it. It's more nuanced than to say just pick one aspect. It's multiple aspects.
That's what I was telling her earlier, Harwin. When you do that, you're going down a rabbit hole because there's more nuances to polygamy than you might want to think.
Yeah, even having sex is a very spiritual thing. That's not just something that should be looked at as.
What I'm saying is that according to certain belief systems, the moment that you have sex with a woman, that's your wife. So
I agree.
And so a lot of times we don't even realize we're probably married already because we're spiritually intertwined with each other.
Right. That goes to your point for sure.
You only married to the person who you make this promise to. So everything else is, just there. You like, if I made a promise to a young lady to love and, these marriage vows or it ain't got to say marriage vows, just vows to her that I love, I want to be with her for the rest of her life. She want to be, that's our bond right there. Whether we did it in front of a preacher or nobody else, we can do it up under the stars. That's me and her agreement with each other. So that's it.
I think that's mainly a Western concept. I don't think that
that's what I'm listen though. You can't
you're cutting me off.
Genesis. Yeah, because
cutting me off because listen, you're talking about a Western concept of dating.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about a regular deal. If I made a deal with you to get your car for $500, you said, okay, cool, Rick. Here go my car. I gave you $450. Then I just prolonged and never get. You'll be, what's up, man? We said $500. That's the same with marriage. If I promise to love and hold and be with you from sickness through health, and then I don't do it, then I'm breaking our little arrangement. That's what it is. Our arrangement.
I'm trying to explain to you. There's certain cultures that there is no nothing. There you don't even get to date.
I don't know why you're missing it. Because it ain't got to be verbal. It's with the heart. That's all I'm saying. It ain't even got to be verbal.
All that hard stuff is Western concept.
No, it's not. I'm not gonna go back and forth with. Love is not a Western concept. Love is a.
I didn't say love is a Western concept. I'm talking about male and female relationships. The way that we carry them in this society is not the same way it's carried out throughout the world. A lot of times there is no such thing as dating nobody. And in Muslim
love somebody, you love somebody.
You don't date.
If in China, Germany.
Marry. Listen, in Muslim cultures, you're either dating to marry. There's no such thing as just dating casual dating.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying making a commitment with your heart and your mind. Even if you don't even speak it. If you love somebody, if I could just see a girl and me and her fell for each other and we start going and we feel for each other. You know, if I seen her getting hurt, it hurts me. Love is that like that. Now, I don't care what nationality you is. It ain't got to be commitment or nothing. If you see somebody and you're attracted to them, you can fall in love with them. That's the bottom. You can fall in like with them. You can fall in whatever, but you adore this person and that person adore you. That's simple. It's not no difference. I don't care if you was in China. I don't care where you at. Love is love. If you like somebody, you like them. If you love them, you love them. If you don't, you don't. That's it. And that's not hard, Genesis, to understand.
I think that you're missing the point. Is that a lot?
I think I don't know whether we both missing each other.
No, at some point, people are not getting married.
But you don't have to get married. See, you missing the point. you trying to make it like a bonding or some kind of agreement. I'm saying regular love, Genesis. You ain't never seen a guy in your whole life that your heart just fell for him.
I think that you're not getting what I'm trying to say. I'm talking about.
I think we have a debate building up between Elder Suntan and DJ Genesis. I want to say peace to everybody, peace to Harwin, and peace to Brother Gideon. What did you want to add? What do you think about polygyny? I'm gonna let you go, but I just wanted to let you come on in.
Thank you, Sister Napah. First of all, I want to give all praises to the Most High in the name of Yeshua. Peace to Elder Suntan, Sister Genesis, and my brother Hardwin, sharp brother. I enjoyed the conversation we had last time. You were very, what I'm saying?
Peace,
how could I? Yeah, you very balanced, brother. I will say that. You know what I'm saying? So,
very
peace to y'all. And Elder Suntan, you know what it is. Polygyny. I mean, it was something that was given to us that, it wasn't restricted. But a lot of things that, that we find in the Torah, people found ways, and I say people, the Israelites found ways to, subvert it and go around it and, like make concessions based upon their flesh to do things. So, the Bible tells us if we was to marry a woman, as long as we can provide for her and treat her right, you know what I'm saying? And we can do that with another woman as well. We have every right to do so. If a man can take care of a woman, multiple women, and they with it, I see no problem with it. It just be kind of hard in this society. They would really have to be detached from, the social norms, because a lot of things point to shit. A woman can't much keep one man and vice versa. So, a man can't keep one woman. So, they definitely have to be into that and, be centered and focus on that. So that's what I think.
Yeah, it's to each his own, brother Gideon. That's what I think. If you can handle it, more power to you, right?
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, because I mean, people say, well, it can be certain abuses that happen, but you can have a man married to one woman and have her scared to go out the bedroom.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So it's just all about the person.
Yeah, it's all about the individuals, man, and the people. If you can handle 7 women, you got guys that ain't even in no polygamous relationship, but they got 4 or 5. I got a friend, man. His name Hollywood. Been knowing this guy since 1979. This dude, he 6 years younger than me. Hollywood about 59. This dude got 20 kids, and when he was in his 20s, he had about 10 then. So right now he got like 20 kids, 50 grandkids, and this guy like 58. So the girls went for it. We didn't never knock him. I mean, it is what it is, right? That's all I can say. And some guys get jealous, though. They say, oh, this nigga got 3 women. And they want to, that's when the problem come in. I don't care if they call themselves religious. They still get jealous because they can't get 2 women or 3 women. You know what I mean? So a lot of that stuff, you go down a rabbit hole when you're dealing with that, man.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
And then you in an environment where that's not the norm. So, you know, a lot of times, you know, brothers will see a woman and they wouldn't open their mouth to her to speak to her. But once they see you with her,
yeah, then they
for
gonna
some
try.
reason it gives them some type of courage
Yeah,
to try to, you know, and it's always funny when that happens.
what's
You know?
up, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, cause I had friends like that, you know, when I come up, man. I was a kind of ladies man, you know. I was real dark, but all of the light-skinned women like me when I'm coming up, right? So and I had a couple of friends who were a little bright, like, you know, skin tone was something back in the 70s, in the early 70s. You know, if you real dark, people try to shun you if you know, didn't look decent or whatever. If you could be light-skinned and look like a frog, but you'll still have a better looking lady than a decent looking darker person. That's how the 70s went. They had a brown bag thing that if you wasn't this light, you couldn't get into the party. That kind of stuff. You know, I grew up in that kind of era. So I said every time I used to get a girl, one of my friends, they wouldn't say nothing to a cute girl. Next thing I know, he lying to her because I done told him me and her been doing this and that and the third. He done told her and she come back and tell me, well, Mike told me you and me was doing this and that. I was like, this nigga, it seemed like every time I got a girl, I had a couple of friends who just did just what you said, Gideon. They go and try to talk. They didn't try to talk to her at first. They wait till they see me with her.
Right.
Then they come at her. You know, one guy married one of them. We wasn't dating. We just liked each other. And, you know, I told Mike about her. Man, he ended up marrying her.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And then,
go ahead.
And then you got the brother. Like, I've never been one to salt another man down, talking to another chick to get to the chick.
Right.
But
man.
you know, you got that type of brother too that
that's the one
talk to her about. Yeah, talk to her about another dude. That's crazy, man.
He telling her what I told him me and her was doing on the side of my house or up in the room. You know?
Right.
She telling me details. I said, this nigga went and told her. And next thing I know, he go with her because I didn't moved on, you know.
Right.
So he with her.
But you know what I say? Sometimes I say I don't feel bad for myself or for the brothers. I feel bad for the women because they got to deal with dudes like that. And they got to lay up with fake dudes like that. It's like, see, they don't really have a choice a lot of times. Like 9 times out of 10, a lot of the dudes, a lot of brothers they mess with be flawed. So, you know, I feel bad for the women because they're the ones that got to lay down with them. So.
Well, I ain't really care back then, man. I was like 15, 16. I didn't really care about the women, what field. I just did what I had to do and get on by my business. You know, like I said, back then, man, we was in the 70s, man. Like I said, I'm 65. And when I was 75, I was 15. We was wearing finger waves, glass heels, Barcelona. You know, we was killing them, you know, so I wasn't stuck on just one girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. I was in high school.
While I'm up here, bro, and while you and Hard went up here, man, I'm gonna put an APB out for that brother Angola, man. I haven't seen him since, man. But come on back, my brother. It's all love here, bro.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but you wanna get with him?
Nah,
Oh, I thought you wanted to debate him or something.
Nah, man.
Angola pretty. He I don't mean to interrupt, but I really like them coming to the community because they bring a little more knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
everybody, not to interrupt. I'm sorry. We have a debate coming up. So JJ has a debate coming up. So I appreciate Suntan, Brother Gideon hitting the panel, Harwin, DJ Genesis. Sunnetter came through. Even I saw JJ hit the panel, but he had some problems. Anyway, let me go ahead and close down and y'all tune in soon for the debate coming up. Thank you for coming in. Hit the like and peace and love to the family.
Where is it at? The debate college.